Hello, Speed Simpsons. Welcome back to SHARCOM 2025. This time, right now, we are having a look at Cro-Mag Rally by NetflixAndBurn. Take it away.
Hey, so this is a, I guess, caveman racing game. And let me make sure I'm getting set up right. And I guess we'll just start right away, shall we?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so 3, 2, 1, and starts. So it's hard to like commentate and play at the same time, but basically we want to pick up as many of these nitros as you can, and it gives you a big speed boost.
So I think there's a bit of a stream issue at the moment, but just for some background for Cro-Mag, it's a game from I think 2000 or 1999. It's developed by Pangea Software. You probably, if anyone's seen it before, it's probably been from having an old Mac when you were a kid. It wasn't pre-installed, but it came bundled on a lot of Mac demo CDs. So a lot of times it would just be lumped in with the sort of software that you would install at the beginning. But now there's a free and open source port made by Jorio, and he's got the permission of Pangea Software, so it's all good to download and play for yourself if you want to check it out. And hopefully soon we'll start seeing some of the actual game in action.
Yeah, I must hop in here to say that on stream there's been no gameplay so far.
What? Sorry?
There
That's been...
Either there's some huge delay or there's something else wrong with the stream.
Oh, my apologies. I'm definitely streaming on my end.
Yep, I can see the stream.
Should I try and restart the stream?
Sure,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I see. It's not moving, is it? It's something like that.
Yeah, no, it's still
just
on
static.
Yeah, it's still on the pause menu still.
How about now? Is it back in the menu?
There has been...
It's just showing like the pause screen on Desert right now.
Oh, yeah, there might be a huge delay then because it's not showing that on my screen. Should I try and restart the stream?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's taking a long time to stop. Okay, here we go. And it should be live again.
All right.
I'm gonna like cycle through the pause menu, so if you see that, then we know it's working.
Yep, I can at least see a different screenshot now of Desert.
Okay.
It's cycling. Yeah, it looks like it's cycling through.
Okay, good.
Should there be
Okay, sorry
audio
about that.
in? Should there be audio in the pause menu when you're scrolling?
Yeah, there should be. Hang on, sorry.
I'm not getting any on my end. Hold up. Oh, it might be. No, it's not that. Okay.
I'm not sure because I've got it set up to record audio for Cro-Mag, but yeah, I'll just restart the game real quick. Sorry.
It's all good. Technical difficulties like these are quite normal for any kind of marathon.
Yeah. I'm not sure because it was definitely working before. I'm not sure what's happened, but it's not showing up on OBS.
Oh boy.
Okay, it should now be working, I think.
Okay, you have now
You should
closed.
hear music.
Well, you have. I just got you by. I got you close to close the game now on the stream.
Oh, okay.
So there is some delay again.
Is there anything I can do about that? Do you think?
Potentially, if you stream at a lower resolution or lower bitrate.
Okay, I'll adjust my bitrate.
Oh, okay. There's audio now. Wahoo! Now it came in.
Okay, I'm just going to change my bitrate and then I'll restart the stream. We should be good, hopefully.
All right.
Yeah, at least you have music now. I mean, well, you know, yeah, you won't have it now because I'm going to restart. But... bitrate. Yeah, I should get better internet.
All in due time.
Okay, I've restarted the stream.
Yep, I can see
With,
it, and there is still audio.
Okay, good. Okay, so I guess we'll try and restart now, do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'll count down again. So 3, 2, 1, and start. I actually had a really bad start last time, so hopefully
Good to
that'll at least
restart.
be better. So like I was saying before, the thing with this game is you've got to pick up these boost items, which they don't help your speed a whole lot, but it does make a significant difference in the context of a speed run.
Ready, set, go!
And it's actually you kind of have to pick up that line of boosts really quick, or it's actually slower. So I've already lost time there, but it's not a big deal.
Nitro. Sticky tires.
Yeah, so we're seeing the first level desert here. So the whole game's kind of split into the different ages. So you have
Activated.
Stone Age, Iron Age, and Bronze Age, maybe. The desert's gonna be the first official map of the game, and then a full game run. Netflix's record right now is just shy of 30 minutes, so like a 21:10 or so. So just playing all the courses back to back. And Desert starts out pretty vanilla, nothing too crazy here, but like he was saying, the major thing that you want to do is just make sure you get all the boosts. So you'll see on the first lap here, he's going to stop, turn around, and try to collect all these boosts. A little bit of a wide turn, but it still ends up being worth it in the end, just because you do get that massive speed boost. And they last for 5 seconds each, but they do stack rather than refreshing the duration. So after you get that, you're just cruising at a pretty high speeds. But luckily on Desert, there's no too sharp of turns. I do hit this cactus here pretty often, but it's a pretty easy mistake to avoid.
You've also got to watch out for the comms or the CPUs who have a habit of driving right in front of you and crashing into you.
Sticky tires activated.
So there's a fair amount of pickups in the game, but really the only ones that matter are the boost and the sticky tires, what you can see on the top left of the HUD right underneath the placement. So that one keeps your traction and your steering. It's almost kind of like a magnet to the ground. In Cro-Mag, you typically want to avoid airtime as much as you can. One, because you can't steer. Your acceleration will keep going, but not quite as much as it would on the ground. So sticky tires is really important, the boosts are really important. Everything else doesn't matter too much. You can sometimes use the bone bombs to hit a comm out of your way, but the opportunities for that it's honestly more risky than it's worth. Sometimes you'll just hit the ground right in front of you and spin out. And then really the one that you want to avoid.
I've literally never in my life.
I played around with maybe it on Giza. We'll see later, the spot that I'm talking about. But on the Sphinx, thinking about maybe trying to find a way of like throwing it on the side of the head and doing a little bit of a spin around. But that idea didn't really go anywhere.
I think that idea lives in the realm of fantasy.
Just me trying to theory craft doing anything that I can because I hate the normal lines on Giza so much.
So this second level is jungle. I think this is actually one of my favorite in the game, just because it's quite a fast level, and it's like really satisfying to like run it well. Because I mean, this game doesn't look too difficult, but it's quite deceptive in that it's harder to control than it looks, because you can't really like move the car while it's in the air, which is quite jarring when you first play it.
Yeah, that was something when I first started running Cro-Mag that I really noticed, and I feel like most games kind of cheat the physics engine in a way that even if you do have airtime, you have a little bit of an opportunity to recorrect or do like last minute inputs to land better or go off a cliff better. But Cro-Mag, if you're going into the air, you're just going to continue on the route that you said, and if it's a bad one, then you're in some trouble there.
One thing with this game is if you have nitro enabled, like the boost, and you drive into something, you can't reverse. There's like no way to reverse when you have the boost.
Ready, set, go!
You also notice there's a lot more carts than the Chariot, but the Chariot's got the max speed, and if you're speedrunning, that's really what you want.
Yeah, it's not that much faster than anything else, but it does make a difference, and like nothing else is remotely viable.
Yeah. I found that I've tried the catapult out a little bit, mostly on Giza, just for the better steering, but I think as a whole, I seem to lose about a second or two every minute of racing. And when the records are as tight as they are sometimes, just that little bit of speed loss isn't worth the extra handling.
For sure, yeah.
So jungle, you can already see, is a lot more intricate than desert. A lot more sharp turns, a little bit of a bouncier terrain. So trying not to go off too many cliffs
Homing pigeon.
is kind of the key here. There are some opportunities, like right here at the end of the first lap, where you can kind of angle to get around the head statues, and then obviously over here on the lava, you really want to avoid the fire. It slows you down, I think, for 5 seconds. A boost can counter that, but it just brings you back up to normal speed. So if you are hitting that lava, it's going to be at least like a 2 or 3 second time loss on any of these fire hits. But again, just trying to collect these boosts, go around the corners, keep traction on the ground. Definitely avoiding super suspension. Anytime I pick it up there, I normally just tab out and restart. 'Cause
Yeah, just restart
there's
the
no
run
point in
immediately.
recovering.
Have you talked about super suspension yet?
I've touched on it, but
Yeah, it's just like a broken power-up in this game. Wait, well, not the power-up itself, but the suspension mechanic is kind of sketchy.
so we were talking a bit before the stream, but we're not unsure if it's a byproduct of the port. But there seems to be something about the source code where if your suspension maxes out over like the 100% value, it starts to trigger before you're on the ground, or just a little bit incorrectly when you're going over hills. So even if you take the slightest of bumps, since you can't control it in the air, and the super suspension makes the game think that your car is already in the air before it actually is, you just have almost no hope of steering. You can be going over bumpy sections and holding hard right or hard left, and your car will just jitter in those directions rather than actually turning as much as you like. So getting stuck on the plant there is a bit of a tough one, but the trees in jungle are probably the major part. That and the Maui heads right at the end are the ones where if you hit, you most likely have a boost going. So you just kind of have to be content with sitting there and taking your time against the wall.
I mean, you can practice jungle all day long, you're still going to hit those plants. Just nature of the game.
Finished jungle at 22. It's about 9 seconds back from the world record, but again, it's a bit of a finicky
horrible
one.
time.
I don't know if I'd quite call it horrible. It's still
pretty
good for
bad.
3rd place on speedrun.com. Then the next course we're going to hop into is going to be Glaciers here. The longest course in Cro-Mag. Medieval's close, but still Glaciers branches it out a little bit. And it's going to be a lot more slippery, so you don't have as much traction, because a lot of the courses either snow or blue ice, which you'll have even less traction on. So sticky tires here is really important. Grabbing that first one lets you navigate through this section pretty easily. And then also just avoiding the snowmen, making clean turns around the corners is going to be the key here on Giza, or on Glaciers. Giza just lives in my brain too much.
There's also the fires you got to watch out for. In particular, there's one nitro that's right between 2 fires. It's really hard to get cleanly.
This is probably the first trickier section of Glaciers coming up. So you have these snowmen that aren't too hard to avoid, but going through this next turn, you get a little bit of airtime. Maybe on the second lap, we'll see. I often have a Kong get stuck on one of these hills and kind of bouncing over it. Sometimes I'll crash on top of them. But here, through the Yetis, you really want to catch those snow patches. to get you a little bit more traction and be able to make that turnaround. Otherwise, you go out too wide, and then you don't have as much acceleration. So you'll have to cut that corner sharply, but lose a lot of speed. So that's a turn where you can easily lose 2 or 3 seconds just by slightly missing some of the traction points. And here at the end of the lap, we have a couple boosts, and then you want to cut right and then come over left. The actual route that's designed has you go in a loop around. You can see on the mini map that loop in the bottom left-hand corner. But in practice mode, there aren't any arrowheads to collect, which is a thing in tournament mode. They have little arrowheads dotted around as collectibles that you have to pick up to be able to progress through the game. But luckily, there's a cheat that isn't quite a cheat, but just unlocks all the progress. So I personally don't enjoy running tournament mode at all. If anything, for some reason, if I've downloaded the game again, it's just 30 minutes that I have to sink into. So I know Netflix has done a couple tournament mode runs.
Yeah, I don't really like tournament mode either.
Yeah,
I think, to be honest, it was added.
Bothered.
I think it was added because the AI in this game is not very fast, so it makes it more competitive.
You have to have a bit of a handicap of having to collect
Yeah.
things that you don't want to. So we do have a super suspension active right now, but it's honestly not the worst part in Glaciers. You can kind of get around it, especially if you have sticky tires. They kind of cancel each other out a little bit. And this part's
I didn't even notice
flat.
that I got it, so that's how little it matters.
That's a good sign. The best thing super suspension can do is make itself as invisible as possible.
Final lap.
Pretty clean end to that lap. You see 5 seconds less than the first lap. Just some minor lines that were cleaned up, but at the end, it is kind of tricky going up on the bank of the right-hand side.
112.
Yeah, pretty good.
112 lap on Glaciers is pretty good.
Yeah, I'll be happy with the 112 anytime.
Have you actually got a 112?
Again, we're approaching a little bit of the trickier section. You do want to go out to the left there to set this line up. See, the comms just get stuck in some spots. So that one, you can see from even just lap 2, is still sitting right in the same place. But from here on out for Glaciers, it is just kind of avoiding the fires, trying to pick up all the boosts, and then nailing that last turn. Oh, and you can see there. So the fires are even worse hitting than the snowman. The snowman just give you a little bit of a minor slowdown, but the fires actually pop your car up and sometimes spin it around completely 360, which is definitely not something that's appreciated.
Whoa!
But that boost is tricky.
No,
to
for
get
sure.
without
But you
it.
got to go for these things, right?
Yeah. Cro-Mag is definitely a game that you can drive pretty safe if you want to, but trying to get the best times, you do.
Yeah,
have to
you
put
can get a
yourself in
pretty
those
good time
positions.
without doing like most of the stuff I'm doing, to be honest. But I'm just trying to show it off.
Ready, set,
Next course here, we're going to take into Crete. This one, you're able to stack boosts even more so than you did on Desert. So we'll see towards the end of this first lap. there'll be a spot where
Sticky
you'll
tires
break and then turn
activated.
around and collect 4 boosts, and then you just chain them all together. So the first lap is always going to be the slowest because you're driving it with no boost at the very start.
Nitro.
And then you'll see on the second and third laps that time is going to go way down just because you have so much more speed going through the rest of the course. Here's the first section with the goddess statues. So they'll shoot little lightning beams at you. That was a pretty clean run through. So even if you get hit, as long as you're going straight, you'll be alright. You can see here, this is where we stop, turn around and collect those boosts. And then once you pop them all, you'll just be driving pretty fast for the next 35 seconds or so.
Yeah, Creed is just like you're boosted the whole time if you're using the optimal route.
Lap 2. Whoa! Sticky tires activated.
So here, just going back through the same spots that we have, but obviously way more speed. And then they'll typically run out right before the section with the goddess statues again. And then once you get through that...
Yeah, I actually used 2 boosts there, which I didn't mean to do, so I had to wait for the timer to expire so I could reverse again.
Oh yeah, I've seen it here. I think you're a little bit ahead, but yeah, I've seen it
Yeah.
now. Honestly, smart crashing into the building. It probably still
Yeah.
saves time just from how fast the boosts let you go and from how important stacking those are to take that time loss rather than just continue driving through.
It's a backup I had prepared.
Oh,
crap
that's
for
gonna
those.
cost ya. Hey, watch where you're going. Final lap. Whoa! Whoa!
So getting into the final lap, you'll see the showcase of speed here. And then since it is a final lap, you're not going to want to stop and get those last bits of the boost. You'll have enough just carrying you through from lap 2. And then the end of the course kind of has a string of 3 boosts in a row, so you can just sprint right through those, pick them up as you go, and then finish the course as normal. So last time going through the goddess statues, got hit out a bit to the left, but it's recoverable. Really the thing that you want to avoid there is either getting stuck in those pillars off to the right or actually slamming against one of the statues. 'Cause then you have to go through the whole motion of braking, turning around, and at that point, if you're doing just a single race run, you might as well just reset at that point. But luckily, avoid the worst disaster possible.
First place. Whoa!
Create with a 244.99.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's not terrible.
I've had 3-minute plus creates, so anything that's faster
That's
than that
definitely
will take.
possible, yeah. If the goddess statues really hate you that day, it can happen.
Roman candle.
So moving into Great Wall, this is probably the course that we've had the most sort of theory crafting on. So you'll notice there's gongs dotted throughout the course. And these actually double all the power-ups that you're holding if you pass through it. It doesn't actually slow you down, just plays a nice sound effect. So you can go through them. So the general strategy on Great Wall is holding onto your boosts as much as you can. And this is where avoiding all the other pickups really matter. So if you run into a bottle rocket or any of these other consumables, you'll pick them up, you'll lose all your boosts. So the first lap doesn't matter too much here, but once you get into this
No,
last
it's
section,
all about the second lap. It's the most
Yeah.
important, where you have to make sure you don't pick up some useless item.
Nitro.
So again, always avoiding super suspension and just hoarding those boosts and then stacking them up. So then you'll drive pretty slow and pretty careful on the first lap. You can see stopping here to pick up 3 boosts, so that way when you go through the gong, it will double up to 6. If you only get one of those, then you only have 4, so even though it is a bit of a time loss in the first lap, you're hoping to recoup some of that speed a little bit later on.
Lap 2.
So going through this one, you kind of have to find your spots where you want to use one boost, because if you just save them all, you can see he used one a little bit earlier just to jump down to 5, because you don't quite need like 30 plus or so by the end of the lap. Then you'll finish the race with more boost timing. So finding those spots where you're able to shed 1 or 2 off, just maximizing the amount of time that you're spent in the nitro, but still making sure you have enough to double the next time you go through a gong. It's taking a bit of a creative line there, really wanting to avoid those. So going off to the left, nice improvised move. You can see
That's not
here now we have-
improvised. That's what I do usually.
Oh really? You go off to
That's
the
my
left?
usual line. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's not the fastest line, but it saves. I mean, it loses very little time, so I find it a lot easier.
You find it more reliable than like just trying to cut
Yeah,
that
for
corner
sure, because you
sharp
have to
and
like
stick to the
time
right.
it. You have to time it perfectly.
Gotcha. Maybe I'll have to start experimenting with that one.
Final lap.
So now that we've used all our boosts, you're just gonna be driving the rest of the course at max speed. And it's a pretty tight one, so some of these corners can give a little bit of trouble. But overall, as long as you're not flying all over the place, you can typically control it. Sticky tires is really important here, just being able to keep that traction. And then the comms can also cause some trouble. Sometimes they get a little bit bunched up, but here it looks like they've got a pretty good seed, so nothing too much that we have to worry about.
Sticky tires activated.
Corners here, nothing too
First
tricky.
place.
And you can see just the time from lap 1 to lap 2 to lap 3 just continually goes down and down. So you can push Great Wall pretty far. The Netflix's current world record sitting right there at 229, but 237
my record
still
on
much
Great Wall
faster.
is completely ridiculous. I can't get close to it.
It's a really clean one. I've tried some theory crafting of seeing if there's like little bits of seconds that you can squeeze out, but I think that route is pretty optimal now. But definitely one that's hard to replicate.
I mean, I've got ideas of how it could be more consistent, but not really faster. Like one of the major problems with Great Wall is if you miss the sticky tires, that's like catastrophic. Because
Yeah, if I miss
you
stickies,
can end up
I'm
you can
typically
end up
just
like
giving
driving
up.
straight into a wall, and you're stuck there for like 30 seconds.
Pigeon.
Yeah.
Sticky tires activated.
So Giza here is sadly probably the course that I've played the most of, and it's a bit of a love-hate relationship. There are a lot of fun things to do on Giza, but it's a pretty bouncy terrain. So especially at the start, trying to collect both boosts here can be a bit tricky to stay on the ground and actually hit those turns without having to brake too hard. You can boost and go off this ramp and kind of glue yourself to that side of the pyramid. So you skip off going to the right. There's a small trick there that I'm not quite sure if there's a consistent route, but you can somehow avoid airtime, which, I mean, at that point is just fractions of a second, but going for world record runs, you'll take really whatever you
Yeah,
can get
it
on
does save
Giza.
like, I think north of half a second if you skip airtime there. But I have no idea how it actually gets triggered.
Yeah, it seems to be something about hitting the angle of that terrain, like in the corner to, I don't know, push one of your wheels down and just maintain connection with the ground, but not something that I've been able to truly figure out.
Lap 2.
You can see going around the Sphinx, you can drive over the back. That's what the previous lines did, but Netflix found it was a bit faster just to do a quick handbrake tap there and drive around the back. Again, just trying to limit airtime wherever we can.
I mean, I still find myself going over this Sphinx sometimes just because it's a little bit easier, but
Yeah. It's a lot safer of a route, but yeah, I haven't practiced the behind the back technique enough. Most of the times I end up just turning too sharply and skidding out.
Nice drive in.
See there, this is when the CPUs can cause some damage. It is just a bit of a crash, but especially if you're on really good pace and you just get a low roll in the seed, it can be quite frustrating.
I mean, to be honest, CPUs are the least of your worries on Giza.
Gotta be much more worried about the camels and the mummies and the bugs. Sometimes you do get lucky and you'll just clip straight through a camel. I find mostly if it's coming in like directly from the back. But again, one of those things where if it happens, I'll consider myself blessed, but no chance that I'm ever relying on clipping straight through one.
Sticky tires activated.
I mean, I think that was more a problem when we were using Nitro, like before the camels. But if you don't use Nitro, then you can kind of just take a optimal route to the left.
Yeah, I'm still a bit unsure on Giza where the prime. I feel like there might be some better spots to use the nitros, but that might just be me be searching for whatever I want from Giza. I think the lines are actually pretty optimized, but I've convinced myself that there has to be a better way to race it, just because I struggle so much with maintaining consistency.
One thing is, you might think there might be a way to like go out of bounds and like cheat this game, but you can't really do that. There's like no, like the borders around the map are so like watertight that there's just nowhere. And even if you do get out of the map, there's checkpoints and stuff, so you have to, I think, get 50% of checkpoints for it to be considered a real lap.
I think that's right.
So there's lots of safeguards in place.
I would honestly expect, and there still might be opportunity for it, but I don't know how to task, and I'm not well versed enough in source code. But you'd think from a game from 2000 or as old as it is, there'd be more sort of game-breaking bugs that you could do. But I've experimented with just boosting into walls and borders, and I haven't found any ways to clip through some out of bounds. But there might still be possibilities there.
I did find I modded the game and gave the CPUs like 1,000 times speed, and that allowed them to clip outside the map. But but that's not really part of the
Sticky
main
tires
game.
activated.
If we can somehow find a way to get 1,000% speed in the vanilla game,
Yeah,
then
that's-
maybe
that's
we,
all you
we
have
can
to
go
do, and
back to
then
the
you're
drawing
sorted.
board. So Medieval here is going to be the third to last track. To me, it's the one that I remember the soundtrack being the best of when I was a kid, and I still think that holds up. I do really like the song playing for Medieval, but as a whole, there's a fair amount of bits, mostly this part, where it is just kind of straight line driving, and then you alternate into some of these corners where you have to cut through the trees and go over some terrain and try to manage your bounces and just avoid as much as you can. The catapults, which will be popping up a little bit here,
Homing pigeon.
can sometimes cause issues. It
Bottle rocket.
depends on the cycle, and at least from my experimentation, I think the cycle in which they shoot is based on some sort of system timer, so it's not super consistent as you roll through. They seem to alternate whenever they fire, depending on.
I think
Sticky
I
tires
think
I think it's
activated.
based on I think it's to do with the proximity of a player that
Oh,
that
okay.
triggers the yeah. So that's why on so it is technically consistent, but the problem is that they like where the catapult fires is not consistent. So yeah.
So it
And
can
also on
depend
lap
on-
2 it depends like where the comms are.
Yeah,
As to where
like
it gets
if they're
triggered.
approaching earlier.
The music on the stage is for sure I think probably among my
Sticky tires
favorites in the game.
activated.
Yeah, I would agree. We'll see later.
The
Atlantis.
most iconic.
Atlantis is.
Yeah,
Atlantis.
Atlantis.
The soundtrack is the only thing, the only redeemable thing about that course for me. And we'll
Atlantis
all
is
see
like
why
the
a little
meme.
bit later.
Atlantis is the meme stage.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more when it comes up. But if anyone's trying to run Cro-Mag Rally, again, it's free to download in the open source port. If you want to try to get a record, Atlantis might be your best shot, but there's some caveats there as to why you might not be able to get it either.
You have to be a masochist to actually try to get a good time on Atlantis.
Just gonna start a 300-hour stream of Atlantis and just play it back to back. Yeah, and you might be the only one who loves Atlantis. It's in your chat. I think you might be one of the few.
Oh yeah, Kane loves Atlantis. Yeah, this is his favorite.
I don't know if I
I think it's
respect
because
that
you
or not.
you don't have to do anything complicated.
Final lap. Whoa.
Coming in the third lap, Medieval here. Pretty solid pace so far.
Sticky
You can get a
tires
little bit of that cut on the
activated.
first, going through those trees and up on the hill. Sticky tires really helps you to climb terrain too. So if you try to drive that without sticky tires, it's going to be a little bit slower. Just kind of keeps you glued to the floor and lets you go over hills a little bit easier and carrying through.
That's
a bit
true.
more
It helps a
speed.
lot to have traction. We
Yeah,
do play on the
everything.
easiest difficulty, but if you change the difficulty to hard, then it reduces your traction and everything becomes a lot more difficult to do.
Whoa.
One thing with this game is that you actually travel, your max speed is not dependent on the direction you're going, so you can reverse at your max speed. So I think you'll see in a minute, I just I get hit by a catapult and it makes me 180, so I just keep going in reverse because it's just as fast.
Sticky tires activated.
Yeah, I think we might be seeing it here. Yeah. You might as well just keep driving backward.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll try to do some backward runs at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be cool. I mean, the only problem is that you can't use nitro when you're reversing.
Oh
That's
yeah,
the only.
true. So
But I
Crete
did make
and
it so.
Great Wall.
Yeah,
First place.
it is possible to code it so you can nitro in reverse, but
336 for medieval. Honestly, with getting hit by a catapult, not too shabby of a time. Just 5 seconds back from world record.
yeah,
So for a full game run, I'm pretty happy with that.
yeah, I was pretty happy with that time actually.
Got the penultimate track here is going to be Viking Village. You'll see right at the start, there's a bit of a trick that you can do here. The main thing, or first thing that you want to do is avoid this blue com driving the obelisk right in front of you. He'll go out a little bit to the right, so you have to cut a bit of a sharp turn with avoiding the start sign. But then you also want to drive up these hills, and you'll just able to skip the entire first bend there. So it saves a fair amount of time just right off the bat, as opposed to driving the course as intended. And it's something that you'll continue to do for both the first and second lap, and the start of the third.
It's pretty easy once you get it down, and honestly, on the second and third lap, it's even easier than the first lap,
Sticky tires activated.
even though you're boosted.
So you got some of these Viking guys to avoid, but typically don't cause too much issues. There's a little goblin troop a little bit later on that are probably the most difficult moving objects, but they're ones where if you're driving a pretty consistent clean run, you're able to kind of time up their positions. So even though you are boosted typically in this section, you're able to kind of swerve around them depending on what lap you're on. You'll get used to the timing and the positions of where they'll be at.
You can also kind of clip through them if you're driving through at a height. So sometimes you'll see me like drive like to the left a little bit, I think, and you can like phase through them.
Lap 2.
Here at the end of the lap, doing something similar to the start, but luckily no comms to avoid. You want to try to drive kind of left up that hill, just to, again, maintain traction with the ground as often as you can. If you go a little bit further right, you'll just catch a lot of airtime, and then you're not really using that boost as much as you can.
Sticky tires activated.
Honestly, pretty clean laps on this course.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. World record on Viking Village is right around 3 minutes, so anytime that, if I'm running it, normally seeing 102s, 101s for first laps, and then just shy of a minute on the second and third means you're in pretty good position to set quite a nice time.
Those random people you see walking along, they have really big hitboxes. If you ever play this game.
Yeah, so I typically, so you can see all the stats, and like the FPS and the steering and the XZ coordinates. You can press F8 in this game to give you that. One of the biggest things if you're speedrunning, you want at least one of those menus up because it will cut down on the black screen that appears when you start each race. But I play with even one more toggle where it will show a little bit of a bounding box, both around consumables and then all the things that you can hit that have hitboxes. And if you want to be extreme, you can press F8 one more time, and we'll give you a wireframe view of the game, which I know Netflix and Burn's done a couple runs through, but
Yeah, I would not
I
recommend.
struggle.
That.
I would not recommend it either. It's almost like playing the courses blindfold. You have to know what turns are coming up and be pretty familiar with the obstacles in your way. Come up on finishing lap 3 on Viking Village here. 1 and 2 in 1 minute. Again, it's a pretty good sign. Should be within a few seconds of the record here. Just trying to avoid these goblin folk at the end of the course, and then you don't have to worry about trying to get a good boost over the finish. It's more just hitting those sharp corners and then driving as straight as you can, picking up all the power-ups that you want.
First place.
So pretty clean. Honestly, really nice time on Viking Village. 301.90 for a full game run is something that I'd be more than happy with.
Yeah, I mean, that's not. I think I'd take that I'm not quite sure what my world records full game run Viking Village is, but it's probably about that.
Yeah. I mean, if you could do every course within 2 seconds of world record, I feel like that set you up pretty well for a full game run. So now we'll be hopping into Atlantis, the final track here. The main thing that makes Atlantis difficult to speedrun is it's the only course in the game where you drive in a different car, so you automatically get put in the submarine. And so you have no choice to choose a catapult, sadly, but it would still be faster just driving on the ground in the catapult. But you get a bit of a speed roll, so everyone's max speed is, I think, multiplied by a random factor of like 1.15 or something like that.
There's like a 5% variance, I think.
Yeah, or 5%. So it's one where, for the longest time before I looked at the source code, I wasn't knowing what was happening. I was driving the same lines, thought I was doing the same race, and suddenly my records would be 4 seconds slower than what I expect them to be. So it's one where the time that you'll be able to drive is a bit out of your hands, but it's also probably the most simplistic course. It's really just hitting these floating torpedo boosts, which these actually don't stack their duration for some reason. It's unlike the nitro boost pickups that you can get. So instead it will just refresh back up to 5 seconds. So trying to carry those boosts through, but it really is just dependent on the speed roll and figuring out what time you might get. So we'll see at the end of the first lap, potentially, what sort of luck we got here. Normally shooting for around a minute or so, I think. Maybe even a sub-minute lap on Atlantis. Might be like the fastest speed that you can possibly.
Absolute best you can get is like a 59.8 or something.
Oh, okay.
But that's very, very rare.
Yeah. So finishing with a 102, it's probably around average, maybe a little bit below average. But again, that's just the roll of the dice. Nothing that you can do on that one.
Favorite course? It's got to be Atlantis, I think. You think so, Jack?
Absolutely not.
There's just so much going on. It's very chaotic.
Such an intricately designed race. I mean, I almost feel like I have to put Giza just because it's my most run. but I don't know if I would call it my favorite. Probably just the most fun one to drive might be Jungle, at least in my opinion.
I agree. I
there's-
think Jungle is pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about, and it's one where you get a little bit of variation, and it doesn't really have a whole lot of dead time. Like Medieval, there's those bits where you're just driving straight. Jungle, I feel like almost every corner or every section of the course has a little bit of like a strategy or a certain line that you want to take, but also the nature of it sometimes going to bump you out of that. So a lot of improvising to do on Jungle, a lot of correction. Makes it frustrating to try to set records on, but for just enjoyment wise, yeah, Jungle's definitely up there for me. Great Wall, similarly, I think that might be number 2 for me, just because driving at max speed with all the boosts, it's pretty fun, but also can be quite difficult. And then it's one where it's like if you crash and you're going for a record run, like you're just gonna end up resetting.
Because of the delay, you might have to let them know when time is.
Okay.
But it should be pretty obvious anyway.
Yeah, so coming in the last lap of Atlantis now. Not one where you really see much change between the laps. Really, the only progression on Atlantis that we found since we started running in the past year or so is collecting that first boost between the clock towers. So you get the string on the left side right when you start the race, but then veer out and kind of go in between those towers, collect that one extra boost, and it does.
And
end
it
up
saves
saving
like
a
no
little bit
time,
of time
whatsoever. It's like
Yeah, it's
0.1
like-
second or something.
Yeah, it's fractions of a second. Even
Say one other thing you can do that I've just found actually is you can play if you play on hard, you get like you get extra rubber banding speed boost at the start.
oh really?
Which saves a tiny bit of time, yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I am coming back to run Atlantis.
You definitely should. Just Atlantis, nothing else.
Be hundreds of hours just praying for a good speed roll. So coming up on the last turn here, it's gonna conclude our Atlantis run, and that'll be all the courses.
Yeah,
in
as soon as
Cro-Mag.
you cross the line, that will be time.
First place.
Time right there. 303. Not the worst. I've had some in the 306s, but again, not really anything that you can do in Atlantis. Just up to the fate of the Cro-Mag gods there.
Yep. So that was Cro-Mag Rally. I think we should probably get out of here so the next runners can get in.
Well, as it turns out, the
Thanks
next
for
one is
listening.
me, so I'm already here. Hooray!
Ah, there we go.
Oh, okay.
But
I
yeah,
checked the schedule. So.
But yeah, before we head off, I'm gonna read off some quick donations here that came in during the run. We have €6 from an anonymous. Thank you. We have 25 Australian dollars from Cody. Very nice. Then we have 25 pounds from CN Lewis with a comment, such a great cause, loving the gameplay. Cro-Mag Rally is my favorite. And then we have 150 Australian dollars from Black Owl GPS. Thank you so much for all the donations and everything. We shall head off now onto a break, and the stream will close off for a few seconds here, but don't worry about it, it'll be back very shortly. But yeah, see you guys next up with Sly 3 and myself.
Sticky tires activated.